Hey, what's going on, guys? 118 Seth Shadow here. So, for today's Market Watch, we've got a number of things to cover, and we're going to be starting with Clash of the Heroes Set 11, which now has boxes available for $35 to $36 for a number of copies available and a number of listings. Given that this would initially have pre-ordered for between like $40 to $50, now that it's $5 under that, it's setting itself up to be just another cheaper box as they start to come out. We've seen this with sets 9 and 10 so far. Of course, set 9 got a rebound thanks to some increase in value of a lot of their singles. But as I explained from one of my prior market watches, Clash of the Heroes does not have too much value when it comes to triple rares and double rares in this set, which also contributes to the lower pricing. Then one thing you should keep an eye out for, and in fact if you're intending to play Minerva for BCS, you'll probably want to buy this now anyway. It's Relrilim, which is exclusively used for Genesis support. And so I've seen most decks in Japan play this card, and I think they tended to play this as a 4-of. So right now it's just over $1 if you want to pick up the double R. And then if you want to pick up the FR, that one is starting over $6. So just depends on where you want to go with that. But given that this card will be in a deck that is likely to be pretty popular in the BCS, the FR does have the potential to see a bigger spike, but then we'll have to see where it goes in terms of competitive play. Do want to call out two particular promos, Broken Toys and Oath of Vengeance Tegrea. Because of the BCS tournament, these cards became available with a second printing in the entry pack that you get for participating in any of the Vanguard tournaments. And you can also pick these up as part of Free Fight. But of course, it is again a pack that you get instead of a solid promo. In any case, the main thing to talk about here is that these two promos are still above $30, despite the fact that they have another printing. And they're still selling over $30 as well. Broken Toys has a number of cells that are 32 all the way to 40, almost 40 from this past month. And then when you take a look at Oath of Vengeance, there were a lot of copies available recently for $30, but all of them got bought out, and there was one sale in the middle of all of that to get $45 copies, and now the card is a solid $40 on the market right now. Another card to keep in mind going forward is going to be Relation Weaver Petralka. This card has been getting a few promo support cards out in Japan, which increase its consistency and make it a little more dangerous than it used to be. Right now the card is sitting at is a $2 to $3 card. You have the BCF hot stamp or BSF hot stamp, and then you have the reprint from Festival Collection 2023. So if you were looking to try a Petralka, might be a good idea to pick up a playset now, as if we do get the promos that this deck runs with, this card will likely see a price increase. Mask of Hydragoom has been seeing price increases, both on the FR and on the double R. Remember that the double R is getting 2 places for reprints right now, in sets 12 and in the new mask set that we'll be getting in November. So, the double R is up in price right now, but I imagine it going back down once set 12 releases. But as for the FR, this one is likely to continue to go up, especially given that we're getting some stronger mask decks that can be played. And right now, when it comes to the FR, they have sold for 30, and one sold for almost 40. But all the copies available right now are 40 all the way to $70. And again, this is the FR, and considering that Mask of Hydragoom is necessary for any mask deck, players really looking to bling it out at this stage are really going to be struggling to find themselves a good amount of copies because it's not cheap anymore. Spiral Cutie Angel has gone back up and is almost out of copies for its triple rare. 2 listings left starting at $26. And then if you want the FFR of this one, it's $83.24 to start. Just to reiterate, this is the cycler for Cater Sanctuary that comes out of set 10. Why it's up now? Well, I mean, there was the announcement of the anime for Full Burst, and I will talk about that in a bit. Let's keep going first. I do want to call out that Cursed Sugar Sparkle, the frame rare of this card. This is one of Luticia's orders. This card has fallen off somewhat. We have one listing that's available for $4, and then you have another listing at $6, and then a number of other listings are still around $7. But there aren't too many left, 8 overall, and when you take a look at what's been available, we had a number of them that sold over August and September. I guess not really that big. 6 copies altogether, and they all sold for $4 each. But it's on the cheap side right now for whatever's left under $5. So I would say that's pretty decent. Now talking a little bit about Full Burst, which we saw from the anime. I'm not going to get too heavy into detail, but ultimately I find it pretty underwhelming to say the least. But the thing about Full Burst is that to max out its effect, you need to play all 3 current Revel forms in your Youthberg deck now, which means you'll have to play Zest, which is typically ignored in a lot of Youthberg-based builds. Gust is a little bit up in value thanks to this new announcement, and Tempest is back up in value as well. Zest is not too far up. There are still listings that are underneath $1. Let's take a look in detail. Yeah, it does depend on shipping, but there are a lot of quantities for ones that are underneath $1 right now. But in any case, yeah, if you want to play Full Burst at full power, you need to play all 3 of them. Zest is still relatively cheap to pick up, while Gust is not too bad, and then Tempest, of course, is just ridiculously expensive, and given that I don't think Full Burst is going to really save the deck, we'll just have to see what the other support cards are once they get announced on Bushiroad's streams, see if it makes any difference. Just a quick call out for the SP triggers from Festival Collection 2021. We have a number of them that have fallen off pretty drastically in value. And just to go over them, we've got Mai, who is Dark States, the critical trigger. Base listing is now $22.95 with a market price of $33. Rona had a pretty big fall off. This is the heal trigger for Dragon Empire. $16.50 is the base listing and market price is in the 30s. Then you have the Aura Battle Princesses, both the heal and the crit. Both of them have listings as low as $15 right now. Then you have Blaze Maiden Zone, which is the crit for Dragon Empire. That one is just under 20. Gurgant is the crit for Cater, also just under 20. Jackalope, the crit for Stoichia, just over 15. Then you've got Diablos Girls Ariana, which is the heal for Dark States. That one is just over 20 as well for its base listing. And when you take a look at the market prices for all these cards, they're all in the high 20s to low 30s, with a few exceptions. So there's been quite a drop-off in terms of Festival Collection SPs, making them more attractive to buy in certain cases. Like, Rona's not bad to... I don't think Rona's bad to pick up when it's close to 15, and the same would probably go for something like Lowers Yellow. Then we also have, and this is going to be our last conversation of the day, an update to the Japanese ban lists. Willista and Gondiva got hits, and Chronojet and Eva got unlocks from what they were restricted on beforehand. But just to iterate what happened, We have Valshablan, which is the cycler for lyrical, and we also have Tranquil Affection Elvira, which is the draw engine for Ballista. There is now a choice restriction between these two going into effect, which makes it so that you won't be able to have as much draw power in the deck depending on which one you choose to keep. But that's intended for Ballista. Then you have Scarlet Flame Bow General Sturgna, which has just been restricted to 1 in Gondiva. So this one allowed you to bind one of your rear guards to retire a rear guard, and if you didn't retire, you just draw and bind again. And because it's a Soul Blast, it doesn't rely on Counterblast, so it really fills up your bind zone for that power rate. I've seen so many games where my opponent was just able to get 2 of these out really early, and then that just really put Gondiva in a good position to have a lot of power. But this card is still relatively cheap as well. It is a common, but its restriction does hurt the deck pretty significantly. Brainwash Swirler is no longer choice restricted with GG out in Japan, so be on the lookout, because Chronojet is still a pretty strong deck, and it still was strong even with the restriction in place. Right now, prices are in the 20s for the base forms, and then you've got the SP sitting at $54-ish right now. And the last one is Combine Rusher, which is no longer choice restricted with Eva. Funny enough, how I was talking about this in my deck profile for Eva, saying that this might come back off at some point, but I didn't expect it to come off this quickly. In any case, Combine Rusher is available for just over 10 for its triple rare right now, and the FFR is currently just over 65. Thank you guys for watching today. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys later.